This computer.
All right. So a little bit different today, because it's just 5 of us, and then Charlotte and Sarah online. But hey, everybody's ready for spring break, basically. I think everyone's arrived that they're ready to have a week off. Actually, a day and a week, technically, extra time. But we are in. This is our next to last General Board PTA meeting, because we'll have one in April before chorus, and then we'll have the one in April, because we won't have one in May this year, just as a reminder, because of school basically ends pretty quickly in May. So we won't have our May general board meeting. So next April will be the last one. And that's generally, just to give everybody a heads up, that's generally when we go over like budget stuff for the following year. So we'll have some work to do before the actual April general board meeting. But I'll go ahead and pass on anything, Danielle, in regards to budget stuff or.
Looks good. We did just get our final payment from Booster Fund yesterday, so I do need to pay them. But it looks very good right now, but it's not an actual.
Yeah, because all money comes to us and then we pay their portion.
Do we know what the final number was?
Not
Not completely yet.
It's,
Okay.
it's a little over 30,000.
Okay.
But we owe them about 20 something thousand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone remembers, like the discussion we had last year was, because normally we have Booster do fall and spring. So that was the reason, if you remember from back last year, why we wanted to do our own thing in the fall this year, because we wanted to see, could we get close to that number without having to pay back so much? And we did. I mean,
Booster takes what,
44, I think it's 44%, and Booster has like different levels. But as you, obviously the difference is we didn't really have to do a whole lot in regards to the programming of it. So we do get a lot of money, but 44% is a good chunk.
Percentage.
Yeah, it's a large percentage.
And we've been doing Booster now, I think, for the past 10 years. So if the board believes that it's time for us to pivot and do something different, then I can certainly support that.
Yeah.
It's fun. The students love it, but
I just wonder if
we've been
it's
doing it for the
something-
past 10 years.
Just wonder if it was something that we could kind of take their model and do something similar.
Right.
It all
Yeah.
comes to us. and so-
Yeah. I think that would be one of these things too, like, not to jump ahead, even though we are still talking about budget stuff. But that would be one of these things, I think, that we would need to establish specific people in a role that is very focused on, hey, fundraiser for spring. And it's gonna require, just like Holiday Boutique, like you're gonna have to be here. And here's the format, et cetera. And who knows, there might be like a separate angle of like, hey, there's this person or this group that would come in, like, to be part of that week, that like is the hype person or like has these things. But I mean, I think again, with it being in the spring, it gives us a lot more time to think through it.
Do we have a fundraiser chair now or no? No.
No, we just have like the spring, the fall fundraiser.
Especially now
person.
doing that one, I don't think it would be bad to have like a general board
Right.
position that's specifically fundraiser.
Yeah, because
And
again,
I don't think we necessarily have to take the same approach that Booster took.
right,
Because we saw in the
Mhm.
fall. that
Right.
We asked parents to give, parents gave.
Yeah.
So if the goal is fundraising.
Right.
I think from the schooling, we can do things to.
Yeah.
Get students motivated, excited.
Right.
Beyond fundraising.
Agree.
I think it's just a matter of looking at. our approach.
Yeah.
And I think the kids are more, at least my kids were more excited about the things they got to do in their classrooms than like the little things they got to bring home.
Yep.
And like, for the world's sake, do my children need to be bringing home trinkets and garbage? Like, they get excited
Yeah.
about it, like, oh, I got this keychain, but then like, what happens to it a week later?
Yeah.
Right.
It's in the
many
environment for
hedgehogs.
how many years or whatever. It's like, or break.
Oh, yes.
And then
We had
they're
some of
like,
those this year.
What do I do with this? And
Yeah.
so like, yeah, those in classroom rewards that day, the pajamas, the.
Right.
Yeah, they really enjoyed
Agree.
those.
Yeah, that seemed to obviously go a lot farther. Like, unless you're actually like collecting keychains and putting them on your backpack, like for the most part, like the other stuff is like, oh, okay.
Mr. Davis, did your little fella ever have a this principal day from?
No.
No,
That's good.
Oh,
Public
okay.
experience with those kids.
okay, he was excited.
He was, he
Yeah.
wanted to dress up.
Yeah.
for his stuff.
Okay.
Still will.
Just wanted to check. on
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else on budget stuff or everything else good?
But I just didn't want somebody to see it and be like, wow, and it's not
Right.
accurate.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't, it's not taken out to 44% yet.
No.
Yeah. Anything from like, well, I know Sarah's not here, but anything that we need to put, minutes from last time, or everybody good with that? I don't think there's anything.
That was when we were.
Yeah, when Miss Mosley's office.
I know I
think
sent the updated quote for
Mhm.
poster maker as well as, brain.
Brain pop. Mm-hmm.
And so you all should have that.
Okay.
to write some checks.
Yeah.
With the school day. Appreciate support teachers, appreciate the support students will certainly benefit from break.
In the poster maker quote, is that? It looks like there was an equipment purchase for the poster making machine and computer. Is that second one that's being purchased, or is that the one that's already, is there one in the library now?
There is.
Okay.
But once the contracting ends, we have to.
Oh, so it's
Yeah,
like,
there is a whole-
it's like leasing it's like leasing the machine? Okay.
I didn't understand it. 'Cause it looked like in the quote, it was like equipment purchase, because there was a warranty on it too, right?
Yes.
That's wild.
So it's kind of like the same thing with the printers and the printer.
I hope, like,
Like the business.
I was like, I hope you all are maximizing poster culture then. So like,
Yeah.
The teachers use it passionately.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes I have to tell them to not use it as much because it's.
I was like,
False.
get them all, get off the posters.
Oh yeah, I see these quotes.
Longer.
Okay.
That makes sense. I wasn't thinking about the leasing side of the machine.
Wow.
All right, anything, well, I'll pass on to you, Mr. Davis, for
Yeah, thank you.
administration updates.
It is hard to believe that we are approaching spring break. And when we started the school year, I said to teachers, because they were really processing that we were coming back a week earlier. And I said to everyone, it's hard now. It was hard in August, but come March, May, we'll be so thankful that we started school earlier so that students can be out or not return after Memorial Day. So we are approaching spring break, and certainly it is needed. I can feel it from our students. I can feel it from our teachers, and certainly parents. I know you all need a change in pace as well. So as you all know, next week we will be on spring break, and there's an early springboard to spring break. As you know, this Friday, March 15th, is a student holiday. It is an exchange day for teachers. If they have earned enough points from their professional development, they can take that day off as well. Most of them will. I encourage them to do so because it is a well-needed break for teachers as well. So please plan accordingly, which I know you all will. Take some time to be with your family, do something fun. And I know that children will be ready to come back on the 25th. A couple calendar reminders for this week, spring pictures. As you all are aware, we will facilitate spring pictures tomorrow, which is March 13th. So please plan accordingly for that. Also, we are ending third quarter very soon. So as a reminder, Thursday, March 14th is the end of quarter three. That's hard to believe that we're entering quarter four. So teachers will be collecting those last grades for students. And as we prepare for third quarter grading period to end on Thursday, March 14th. As a reminder, report cards will go home Monday, April 1st, April Fool's Day. So that
Real
will be
report cards?
interesting. Real report cards though.
Not
So
fake ones.
don't let your students tell you that the grade is April Fool, and it's not the real grade. It will definitely be the real grade. A couple of other announcements on my end. We are approaching what the district is going through our reaccreditation process. Where one of the requirements will be for parents, teachers, and students to complete our school report card climate survey. And so last week, our teachers were tasked with completing their survey, and their responses will certainly contribute to our overall ratings for our school report card. Students' responses as well as teacher responses. So we want to make sure that those responses are a true reflection of the work and the collaboration that we do here at Brushy Creek. And so teachers completed their
Is that in backpack?
it's coming to parents when we
Okay.
get back from spring break.
And if we have more than
Mhm.
one child, we just do
You
one?
only do it once.
Okay.
Yes. So last week, teachers completed their surveys. And this week, students, grades 3rd, 4th, and 5th will be completing their surveys. Today, 3rd graders will be completing their surveys, and teachers will facilitate that inside of the classroom. Wednesday, March 13th, 4th grade will be completing their climate survey. And then Thursday, March 14th, 5th grade will be completing their survey. So only elementary school grades 3rd through 5th. Middle school and high school will do it as well. But specifically elementary school, that's when we will be facilitating our school climate survey. And again, all of these responses will contribute to our overall rating. As you all know, our overall rating academic for Brushy Creek is excellent. And for student progress is excellent, as well as for student success is excellent. So we want to make sure that we continue our tradition of excellence. And so I always like to tell teachers and students that we want to make sure that their responses are a true reflection of the work that we do here at Brushy Creek as teachers and staff members, and also from students' perspective of their experience here at Brushy Creek Elementary School.
How
So-
often did you say that happens?
It happens yearly.
Oh, so it's every year. Okay.
Yes, yes. But we are approaching our accreditation process, which the district most likely will solicit some feedback from parents to serve on some of those committees as well, where we look at our strategic plan, as you all know, is ending this year. The last strategic plan, I believe, was from 2018 to 24. So now we are preparing to complete the strategic plan and go through the accreditation process, which will carry us for the next 5 years. So the district may solicit some feedback from schools, PTA, SIC. So I'll let you all know if they inquire about some names on behalf of Brushy Creek. A couple other announcements. Let me go back to the survey. So the parent survey will be completed, and you all will push this information out. Our goal is to do it when we get back from spring break. But the survey closes April 12th. And so we're thinking probably the week of March 25th, probably through April 5th. We'll push out through Backpack for the parent climate survey. And that is for all parents in grades K through 5th will have the opportunity to take that survey. It shows up on the school report card, but the parent responses will not contribute to our overall rating. It is information, as you all know, when you look at our school report card, there is a section specifically about school climate where we see the responses of parents in regards to the percentages, in regards to all of the questions that are asked regarding Brushy Creek Elementary School. So I know when you all get that survey, that you will make sure that it's a true reflection of the work of our community as it relates to Brushy Creek.
For the teachers and staffs
Mhm.
and parents
Mhm.
and children, are there responses? Is it anonymous, or do you know who?
They're anonymous,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, we get the percentages. I only get, when we're looking at the results, we only get the percentages. For example, one of the questions may be, I feel safe at school. And so we look at the percentages And we certainly make sure that we have conversations about if there are any opportunities for reflections as SIC, as a PTA board. We reflect as a staff, but traditionally our responses have always been positive in regards to the collaboration and the work and how we see our school in our community. And so our goal is we'll push that information out to parents, and it will be pushed out through the parent backpack. And all families may complete, it should be one parent survey for each student. One parent survey for each student. Okay. So look for that information when we get back from spring break. We felt like that it was not probably favorable if we push it out now, because a lot of families may forget. So we'll wait until after we get back from spring break. Any questions about the surveys that will be going out soon to parents? Students will be completing it this week. My last bit of information is, I'm sure you all heard about the new constitutional carry law that our governor recently signed into law. And this particular law, the constitutional carry bill, which went into effect immediately. And the new law allows anyone who can legally possess a firearm to carry that firearm in many public places without a permit. The law does not allow for someone to bring a firearm inside of the school building. However, it appears that the law allows anyone 18 years or older, including students, to legally transport a firearm in a vehicle onto school property and leave the firearm locked in that vehicle. So there's some implications that as a school that we certainly have concerns and will be communicating to those individuals who have authority in regards to influencing this law and making some modifications. So per this particular law, it says, however, the new law leaves in effect the current state statute that prohibits a student from possessing a firearm anywhere on school property. That this particular statute requires a student committing such infractions to be expelled from one calendar year, but the student would no longer be charged by law enforcement. And it says that a parent, a grandparent, or any adult 18 years or older may, for example, drive through the car line or attend a school event with a firearm visible in their vehicle on school grounds. As you know, that certainly presents some concerns on our part as a school, because when we have PTA activities, when we have parents in the building for parent, teacher, student types of activities, people can come on campus and have a firearm visible. And so that certainly presents some concerns to us. In the district's perspective is that assuming that they're not student and the parents are not exhibiting any concerning behaviors, that at this time, there's nothing that we as a school will need to do. However, if we observe someone with a firearm in their vehicle on campus that may be exhibiting concerning behaviors, then our approach will be to immediately contact law enforcement. So we do have some district government relations, our government relation director for Greenville County Schools that will be communicating concerns on behalf of the district, concerns that students may now legally bring firearms on campus in their vehicle. And we hope that in working with personalities and individuals who have influence over making some changes to this particular law, will certainly lend themselves to changes based off of our concerns. So I think that was information that as a body, we need to know so that we can advocate. And if you have influence over, individuals, who represent, you, in your, respective places, that certainly communicate those concerns as well. And so in summary, that simply means that students can have, a firearm in their car. Parents can have it as well to school events and activities, not necessarily bring it inside of the building. But as you all can see, that still can present some concerns, for us as a public, facility, especially a school, when we are on high alert already about the potential of, situations that can certainly cause us to be in harm's way. So I know that it's certainly heavy information to hear, but it is a new law that was passed by our governor that we as a district, certainly, have some concerns that we're working to, express those concerns. That is all that I have from my end. Any questions for me?
When does the SE Ready testing start? I know our April meeting will be a chorus
Yeah.
concert also, so we won't have that.
It starts in, May. Let me look at it again. Yep, it starts in May. So the first week in May.
Okay.
Mhm. And we'll push all that information out when we get back from spring break. We'll post it on the website so parents can be well aware.
In regards to like parents writing letters, for the traits of the children or for the teacher for next year.
Yep.
Can you comment on that process, like
Mhm.
when that's happening, how for us to continue to be good advocates so that
Right.
people's letters aren't getting disqualified, and also any like staff changes that people might need to be aware of
Right.
in that regard too?
Yeah. So in regards to the characteristic letters, we traditionally push that out when we get back from spring break.
Okay.
And so look for that information, and we have a very detailed, policy, that gives, very clear directions to parents in regards to writing a characteristic letter. And the characteristic letter should focus on characteristics only. For example, my child will benefit from from a teacher, that is very structured, very caring. So we use characteristics. Now, if the letter includes the name of a teacher, then I immediately, throw those letters out. Those letters are not given any considerations to, only characteristics. And you'll be surprised, a lot of our parents do write, letters, and we read those letters. And we do our very best to make sure that we place the students with the teacher that we believe possesses those characteristics. That has been a tradition that I've had in place now for Brushy Creek for, the past 10 years. I've been here 11 years, but for the past 10 years, because I believe that it is a great way to get some, feedback from parents based off of teacher-student placement. So look for that information. We'll push it out and we'll give a timeline for the process. So we'll have that information. It should be in the student handbook as
Okay,
well
right.
already. I don't have it in front of me, but I
Last year you
certainly.
posted it on the
Mhm.
Brushy Creek
We do.
website too, right?
Yes, we'll post it on the website. We'll push it out through Backpack, as well. It's been a tradition for us, and parents really, appreciate that tradition because it's an opportunity to provide some feedback in regards to characteristics. And a lot of times, when the school year start and parents have concerns about a teacher placement, my first question is, did you write a characteristic letter? And sometimes many of them did not. And so that is a parent opportunity to give us some feedback based off of what teacher, not what teacher, but the characteristics of a teacher that can best meet your students' need. And we look at that. And sometimes I make movements based off of, when I'm moving teachers around the building, and in regards to, teacher placement assignments. There are 3 reasons why I move teachers. One, I move them to strengthen, our professional learning community teams, that exists within the building. And, point 2 is to meet the academic and the social emotional needs of our students. So when I'm reading these characteristic letters, if I cannot find a personality to match that characteristic letter, that's an opportunity for me, in regards to movement within the building, making sure that we have a very diverse group of teachers to meet the needs of our students. And then the third reason is sometimes there are changes in our baseline, our student population may decrease, and so therefore we may lose positions. And so the second part of your question was teacher allocations. Greenville County Schools in December traditionally was sent out an intent letter asking teachers and staff members to share their intent for the upcoming year. We will have some teachers that will be retiring and or resigning their positions to be able to support to their family. I have a lot of new teachers who are starting their families, and some of them have made the decision to stay home and be able to support to their family. And so that will certainly impact our allocations. As it relates to our projections for the upcoming year, we will be losing one projection. Specifically, I believe it will be in third grade, but it will not impact any of our teachers from having to be on what we call the excess list for Greenville County Schools. That's whenever positions may be cut within a building, and those individuals have to be placed at other schools. So we are fortunate that all of our staff members who want to stay at Brushy Creek, we will have a place for them. But we are losing one allocation. That's based off of our first through third grade allocations are in the same pot. And so depending on the number of students that are projected to enroll for the upcoming year will determine the number of allocations.
Okay.
And so we will be losing one because we will have less students in grades first through third. And so I will shift that position or shift that teacher to another allocation within the building. So we will have some teachers who are staying home to be able to support to their families. Teachers can also get a transfer to another school. And so that deadline is June 1st, where teachers have until June 1st to secure a transfer if they're interested. But we are in the hiring season now. I attended a recruitment event this past weekend where we met a lot of great candidates, but currently we are in a hiring somewhat of a freeze because we have to place all of our internal candidates first before we are allowed to hire what we call external candidates. So I'll certainly keep you all posted as we go through that process.
Are you all feeling a lot of strain from these neighborhoods and townhouses and everything popping up everywhere? Do you feel like the number of students in the school have increased, or do you feel like it's kind of stayed the
It
same?
hasn't. We've been very steady. And when we look at the data within the planning and demographics department in regards to the townhomes, the houses, a lot of houses are being built, but most of them are not having school-age students in it. And so although we're seeing an increase in development in houses, many of those homes don't have school-age students in them. And so our numbers have been pretty consistent for the past 5-6 years. The highest we've been in enrollment since I've been here, we got up to about 905 students. So next year we're projected around about 835. So this year we're like 845. So we're pretty consistent from our projections based off of just development in the houses within the community. Our planning demographics do a really good job at working with developers and being a part of the conversation in regards to when there are new developments coming, just so that we can project and have an idea of if these homes have families, if they have school-age students, so that we can plan as a district in regards to facilities.
I know that we have our April meeting coming up,
Mhm.
and part of that April meeting is we're gonna have our budget that we have to finalize for next year, and budgeting is always a little tricky because we're trying to project like you are. As parents, as we have given some support to like related arts and other programs, are there, as you look at the staffing for next year, are there things that we should know that would be helpful in our budget considerations? And I'm sure that we'll have more conversations outside of this meeting in terms of reconciling and figuring all that out. But is there anything that is helpful for us to think about? Like, is there, in terms of technology, in terms of arts, in terms of whatever that might be, that you can help us think about before we go into some of those conversations?
Right. I can't think of anything that is top of mind
Okay.
for PTA, this body, to give some consideration to.
Okay.
I think it's just important for us to just be open to being of a support to the school. I think what PTA has already done thus far in regards to the brain pop, in regards to the poster maker. I know we're giving consideration to this performance space because our goal even next year is to continue to invite parents inside of the building for those activities that many of you all have already been a part of. And I've gotten really good feedback from parents about such as the 5th grade cafe, the 1st grade performance, and I know our 4th grade students are preparing for their performance that is coming up. And so we want to do more of those activities. I think as much as this committee and this body can continue to spotlight how this organization is being of a support to the overall instructional program through our news blasts and other channels, social media. I think parents will certainly appreciate that, but I can't think of anything top of mind from a projection perspective that this committee needs to give consideration to.
I know the kids have enjoyed the addition of drama this year.
Oh, yeah. My goal is to try to have that full time next year. That's our goal, because this year only some students benefited because he's here part-time. He is interested in being full-time, so I'm looking at how we can make that work from an allocation perspective. Yeah.
If you bring in drama full-time, will you have to take away something that's already?
We most likely will.
Okay.
Yeah, we will. And STEAM is one of those things that I am giving some consideration to. Now that the science standards have changed, and a lot of those science and engineering and art standards are now embedded into our science standards, which means now the classroom teachers will be facilitating those. When we brought STEAM, I think it was probably 9 years ago, we were one of the first schools to have a STEAM program because we saw the benefits of making sure that students were exposed to those science, engineering, and art standards. Now that the state has shifted our standards to including all of those STEAM-related activities and standards, we believe that this is a good time for us to pivot from having a STEAM program in isolation to now having it embedded into their general ed science program. So that is one of the programs that we will give some consideration to if we bring drama full time. Most likely we will.
All right. Well, we already checked a lot on the box that I had written to bring up, but I guess just a couple things just to remind from last month. We talked about in May, we'll figure out a week when we'll actually clean out our closet, just to kind of go through things as we think about future stuff, because a lot of that stuff that's in the closet hasn't been used, gosh, probably, well, since I've been here, like 3 years ago. So we're just gonna try to allocate that. So we'll be asking volunteers and support just to work with us. So the plan will be curtains will stay up, so that way we can actually bring everything out onto the stage and like start working to clean it and then put things back in. So just so we can go into next school year with a fresh start and that already being taken care of. Because if you are volunteering, you haven't been in there, just a lot of stuff in there. And it's not just a space that we use only, like the maintenance team or whatever has some stuff in there too, tables, things like that. So we just want to make it as functional as possible and go into next year with that looking good. So y'all can expect an email just for volunteers throughout the week on that. We talked about, I know conversation, not that it, at SIC, there's conversation about speed bumps that is in conversation as well. That would be in the car line, basically because of probably mostly East Side students cruising through and trying to use it as a cut through and going really fast. So just to try to deter that.
I was behind a parent on my way into the meeting that was using it as a cut through.
Yeah, not just students. There's definitely other people who just use it to, if they see the light has changed, they're just gonna cut through and try to bypass that. So that's something that's, yeah.
Well, and at the corner.
Absolutely. And this, and we're landlocked, which is, yeah, no. Right. It's no street.
They're like last Monday and.
I don't know why it's gone, but it's.
Nobody,
People don't listen.
nobody listened to it anyway.
Well, I
Right.
did, and it annoys me to tell them, and I'm
They don't.
so it's.
Yeah. It's not safe. It's not safe.
Right.
Unless you have someone out there.
It's
I
not
like
like-
in Brushy Creek
Yeah.
is not safe to turn on Brushy Creek during session.
One of the challenges that we have in our community is because it's heavy travel. But specifically as it relates to the speed bumps, I am having some conversations with the facility department with getting speed bumps installed. Another safety layer to this, the traffic down. It's some of that. That was one of the reasons I put the gates in, because it really is becoming a problem. It's students in here, speeding. So hopefully speed bumps will be another safety layer to facility.
The other thing just to bring up would be board positions as we're moving into trying to fill all positions for next year. There'll be a couple things on the executive side of things. So if there, and this is more like not just if it's you interested, but you might know people that would be benefit from like based on their skills and abilities. But we would like to at least explore the opportunity to have somebody who would be interested in the treasurer side of things. Obviously, accounting background would be a huge bonus, and working with things like QuickBooks and those kind of things. So more like if you know someone, definitely bring them forward. That doesn't mean they're going to be the person, but we would love to be able to consider.
And we had planned that to be kind of a learning year, right? To
Correct,
learn
yeah.
ease
So
in.
it would be a good time to get into it because we still have multiple people that would be on the team that has experience in that could help train. So almost like not fully having to jump into it on their own all in year one. So it'd be a good time for that. Also in regards to like, we're still working through some of the general board positions. So there will be a few openings, but it's kind of one of those things, if you know someone that you feel like would benefit the parents, the teachers, the kids, being on a general board position, even if there's not a position that would be open at the time. Like we're gonna take any quality people that would be able to pour in and willing to jump in. We will have like specific things that we will list and email out to people, and it kind of all works with networking with us. Like that's kind of how we filled most of the positions last year, is all through just networking, not necessarily just people randomly coming up. So networking is a big thing for that, but there'll be quite a few, or not a lot, there'll be a few spots that will be open for next year that we'll start kind of really pushing specifically, but we're working on getting the last few like comments back from people. Are they gonna go another year and serve another year? But we also do have a few that, or for example, just like the treasurer thing, where we'd have good support for somebody who would step into that role in the executive board. Same thing on the general board, like we're trying to find somebody who's interested in school store, but a man who currently does school store is over that now and would kind of train that person. So that way it's not, here's school store, figure it out. They'll be able to walk along with Amanda all year to kind of get used to it in the process and the system. But that's just one of the examples of something that we'll be looking to fill. And then I know we talked about it in the budget. We're working on cutting the check to go back to booster. But did really well, like in regards to the benefit to the school, that was over 30,000. So when you combine that with over 20,000 with the the fall fundraiser, quite a bit of money. Just parents are generous, willing to give, not just parents, grandparents, and all people connected to the school are super generous. So working on getting some of those things, as we've already talked about, considerations for some upgrades to the school and some things that will benefit through like Brain Pop that benefits the students, Poster Maker that benefits the teachers, and then talking about consideration for other ways that we can spend the money for school upgrades. But there'll be more to come on that as we move forward, because we do only have one general board meeting left, which will be in April. So a lot will happen from this one to next one in regards to budgets and moving forward on some upgrades. But that was really all I had. Any other questions? I know.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I was trying, I just said if we could, add the dates and times for any grade performances to the repair email, then we would know what the response. is.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Kids, like, drop off or something like this. Little wild in the parking lot.
Yeah, I came in during one performance
Yeah,
to
the field
chaperone
trip.
that field trip and I was, I parked my car over. I had to call my husband like, hey, move my car. I think it's
Yeah.
illegal.
Just if we could know,
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but as-
The performances. Yeah.
When you were talking.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. I guess a lot of times the performances strictly go to the parents of those performers that are directly impacted.
Like right at the late drop off time.
Right. Okay. That's good enough.
Which that might help too, if you talked about kind of a full calendar of our stuff, school stuff, performances. That would all be there and parents could look on the calendar and know.
Yeah, and a lot of times
What's
PTA
happening.
knows when the performances are in a sense, but yeah,
Yeah.
we can make sure that gets communicated to room parents.
And those teachers to facilitate that
Mhm.
those communications that traditionally won't end up on the calendar. Teachers are planning those activities through it. So we traditionally won't have those events in the calendar. Only the PTA controls that would be in the classroom activity event. Push that information.
Bring the
Mhm.
we'll figure out something.
We can, once they have those dates, they can push the information out to room parents and the room parents can assist them with communicating. I did look at the characteristics. I think that as per the calendar, the due date is March 26th. I will make some adjustments to that date, and push that information out through parent backpack, as well as the policy in regards to those, characteristic letters. So I'll get that done by the end of this week.
Anything else, Joseph?
No, that was it, unless somebody else has something else.
I don't think so. Next meeting's the course.
Yep, next meeting will be chorus.
15th.
Yes,
Yes, the
April
15th.
15th at 6
PM.
PM.
And then our last general board will be that same month in April. All right,
And teacher appreciation in April too. All right,
thank you guys for coming.
Thank you all.
thank you.